All right, what's going on, guys? Finally getting to the point in the season where I'm here to do the bow reviews. So for the next 35 days or so, we're gonna have hopefully a video per day dropping on the channel. And the reason I'm gonna do that is because I am way behind. It is now the 1st of June, and this is the first bow review that I'm doing for the year. Sorry that it's been so long since I brought you these reviews. I've had a lot of you guys reaching out asking why it's been so long, but we've been building a house, all that stuff. Got a little baby on the way. And I'm just now getting started. But like I said, I'm hoping to drop at least a video per day. My plan is after all the bow reviews get done, it's probably going to be a video or two a week. That's what I'm planning on maintaining on the channel now that I'm back to it. But with that being said, today's going to be day one of hopefully around 35 days of bow reviews. And what I wanted to do today is I wanted to start with a bow, a brand that I've never shot as far as like a personal bow, just so I could start with something that I'm not biased towards. And today's video is going to be specifically on the Elite Omnia. Alright guys, so if you can see on the board behind me, the Omnia, I got the specs and stuff written up here. Axle to axle is going to be 32 inches. Brace height is going to be 6 inches. The bow weight, this is something that I did different this year. Bow weight per specs is 4.5 pounds. I actually pulled the bow, just let the bow set on a scale. On the scale, this bow is actually set weighing 5.1 pounds, so it's a little bit heavier. Now, with that being said, it does have a whisker biscuit on it, and I'm not sure if that weight that they call out at 4.5 pounds is without this VRT stabilizer, but it does have that on there. So 5.1 pounds with that. The available draw weights in this bow are going to come in 10-pound increments from 40 to 70 pounds, and the advertised speed on this bow with the 80% mod at 30-inch draw with a 350 grain arrow is 347. Draw length availability, this bow is going to go down to your shorter draw lengths. It's going down to 24.5 inches and all the way up to 30 inches. The cam on this bow is what they're calling their SP cam, and the cam itself I think is pretty similar to the cams of the past. It's not a whole lot of change, but what they've got on here is what they're calling the V2 micro mod. And what they're claiming is that this bow is adjustable in 1/4 inch increments on your draw length. We'll get back to that here in a little bit because there's some things that I don't really care for in this cam system. Letoff is going to go up to 90%. They have an available mod for this bow that'll take it down to 75%, but the mod that comes stock on this bow goes up to 90%. And it's going to be available in 18 colorways. They've got what's called the SET Tech, and it's simplified exact tuning. And on this bow, you've got a lot of adjustments here in the limb pocket area, and you've got the ability to adjust cam lean, you've got the ability to adjust your pockets. There's a lot of adjustability on this bow. It's kind of similar to what you'd see on the Bowtex, but not quite the same. Overall, it's a pretty good looking bow. But what I'm going to do now, I'm going to go ahead and shoot it a few times, and then I'll kind of go into some of the stuff that I found out about these bows, the speeds. I went ahead and did a speed test at 27 inches, 28.5 inches, and 30 inches on the draw. Did that with all the bows that's coming up in these videos. When I did that, I did it with a 350 grain arrow, a 425 grain arrow, and a 513 grain arrow to kind of cover all the, with the exception of the extremes, that kind of covers where your more common hunting arrow weights would be. But we'll go over that chart here in a minute. First thing I want to do is go ahead and shoot the bow a few times, let you listen to it, let you hear the sound that comes out of this bow, and kind of show you how the draw cycle is. All right, so in all these reviews, I'm gonna have these bows set to 27.5 inches, which is what I shoot pretty commonly between all the bow manufacturers. So draw it smooth to about right there, and then you'll feel that hump over. I'm gonna let it down. It's got a really, really deep valley and a real solid back wall. But when it finally lets off, it's going. So it's gonna be hard to hold that thing back in a tree stand. It's gonna lump right there. It's pretty solid. The back wall is awesome. But the bow's loud. The bow is very loud on the shot. After shooting all the bows over the last couple days, this series of bow is, in my opinion, one of the louder bows. But it's kind of one of those things. Each bow is going to have their positives and negatives, and that's one of the negatives on this one. While I'm talking about the valley right there, that valley is awesome, and the back wall is probably one of the best bows out of all the bows that I shot so far. But there's also a little bracket here. Hopefully you can kind of see it. There's a bracket on the back of this limb. There's one on bottom and there's one on top. There's an option on this mod system that will allow you to screw in a string stop, or a limb stop. The way it is now, this mod stops on your cables, but you can screw in an actual limb stop, and that's what these brackets are for. As far as I can tell, it's just for your limb stop to hit on. But as solid as this back wall is, I honestly don't see the reason in that. All right, so as far as vibration goes, the bow does have a little bit of vibration on the shot. Not bad as far as the shot goes. There's not a lot of recoil on the shot, so when you shoot it, you don't really feel like the bow's trying to jump out of your hand. But there is a little bit of residual vibration. Not much, it's not bad in my opinion. The grip is okay. I don't really care for these little side plates they have on it. I don't really feel like it really does a whole lot for me. But the grip is okay. It's just right straight to the riser. Let's see, some of the things that kind of stand out to me off the bat on this bow. When you shoot it, when you draw back, I think it may have to do with these brackets that are on the limbs, but when I draw this bow back, the bow naturally wants to lean top heavy to my left, towards my left. And the only thing I can think of is that it's just a little bit heavier on that side because of those aluminum blocks. But like I said, the bow does shoot fairly well. The draw cycle is very smooth up until the point where it kind of drops over. But for me, if you watched my videos last year, you know how important it is for me where that lump in the cam is, where it drops off, to be able to let off. So I'm gonna shoot it one more time. But for me, like I said, it's kind of important for me to have a bow, especially self-filming, to have a bow that I can let down if I have to. If I have to let down for a deer coming in, if I had to move the camera or whatever it is, I like a bow that I can let down. A lot of times you give up your speed for a bow that you're able to let down like that, but for me it is worth the sacrifice in speed. But let me give you two more shots and I'm gonna take you over to my scoring system. Take you over to my scoring system and kind of go through some things on this bow. When I take and try to get this thing out of whack, it stabilizes back out, but like I said, it just naturally wants to lean to the left. All right, so let's go back over here to the board and I'll go over some of the specs and stuff that I figured out on this bow. Kind of some of the things. So we talked about speeds. Like I said, the bow is rated at 347 feet a second. Now, of course, like I said, right now the mods are set at that 90% range on Letoff. But the speeds on this bow is 347 at 80%. I didn't change it because I shot all these bows in whatever mod percentage, whatever Letoff percentage that they come stock with, just to be fair from how they come from the factory. All right, so with this bow, 350 grain arrow, I'm gonna go through 27, 28 and a half, and 30. So 27 inches at 350 grain arrow, it shot 300. 28 and a half, 313, 30, 330. With a 425 grain arrow, which is a pretty common kind of middle of the road arrow weight, at least in our area, and it's kind of the arrow weight range that I prefer for my draw length. At 27 inches, it shot 275, 28 and a half, it shot 290, and then at 30, it shot 303. And then kind of getting more towards the heavy range with a 513 grain arrow, it shot 258, definitely slower, 266, and then 279 at 30 inches. This bow was one of the top 5. I think it might have even been like top 3 as far as speed goes and what I got in the bows. But with that being said, that's a 17 feet per second difference between what they say that it shoots and what it actually shot with a 350 grain arrow. With that being said, there is a difference in the Letoff. I don't think it's a 13 foot or 17 foot a second difference in Letoff. You know, I don't think that would make that big of a difference, but it could be. It could be, you know, maybe 5 feet a second if I had to guess. But anyway, shot 330 with that setup, not too bad. So let's go ahead and put my scores up here for what I thought, what I felt like on this bow. So for shootability, I'm going to give this bow a 6. And once I put these up here, I'll kind of go over why I think, what I think, and why I decided this. For tunability, I put a 7. For draw cycle, I give it a 6. For back wall, I'm going to give it a 9. Balance, I'm going to give it a 5. Weight, I gave it a 4. Speed, I'm going to give it an 8. Like I said, it was in the top 3 for speed. Noise, I'm going to give it a 3. It took a hit there on noise. Vibration, I'm going to give it a 5. And then fit and finish, I'm going to give it a 3. And we'll talk about that here in just a second. So if we total those numbers up, we got 6. Let me get my phone. It's too much math. So we're going 6, 7, 6, 9, 5, 4, 8, 3, 5, 3. So out of a total possible 100 points, this bow gets a 56. Sounds bad, but in reality, none of these bows are going to get anywhere near 100. So just keep that in mind. One thing I've got down here as a bonus is going to be price, because I don't think price should necessarily be a factor in why you buy or don't buy a bow, unless you just don't have the money to buy that bow. Because most of these bows in the upper range of your what they're going to call your like premier bows or your like pro line type of bows, most of these bows are going to be roughly the same in price. But for this one, I'm going to give it a 6 for price. So total score here is going to be 62 points. Now, let's talk about a couple things. So, shootability. I gave this bow a 6 on shootability because you've got 32 inches, 6-inch brace height. That's not too bad. You have a lot of adjustments on this bow. And the bow itself is a good, mean, like average weight on a bow that you would want for like a hunting style bow that kind of helps balance itself out. So for shootability, I'm going to give this bow a 6, just slightly above average, with average being 5. Tunability, I'm going to give this bow a 7 because of the options that you have for tuning this bow without a press. Now, a lot of guys probably shouldn't be tuning on their own bow unless they have a pretty good knowledge of bow tuning as a whole and kind of what these adjustments and stuff do on this bow. But with that being said, there are pretty good options for adjustment on this bow. So that's why I'm going to give it, as far as tunability, a 7. Draw cycle. The first 3/4 of the draw cycle is very smooth. And it feels very good. I took a hit just because of that lump at the back end, and the valley kind of hurts this bow as far as the let off goes, because it's going to be really hard, especially when you're in a stand, you've been sitting all day and it's cold. It's going to be really hard to let that bow down if you have to. Back wall, like I said, I love the back wall on this bow. I'm going to give it a 9. I'm not going to give any of these bows a 10 on anything because there's always room for improvement. But I'm going to give this bow a 9. I do think draw cycle wise, this is going to be one of the top bows that I'm going to shoot. Balance, I gave this bow a 5. It's not horrible, but like I said, it does tend to lean for me top heavy left. So that means I'm going to probably have to shoot a sidebar. There could be a slight chance that I put a sight and quiver and stuff on this bow, and it could bring it back over without having to run a sidebar. I just don't think that's going to be the case. These bows do not have the dovetail mount on the back or like a Picatinny on the front, so you are going to have to shoot a traditional rest and a traditional sight on these bows, so keep that in mind. As far as weight goes, I gave this bow a 4 because of what I just talked about. Because it's off balance, I'm going to have to run pretty heavy sidebars more than likely, and the way this bow balanced in my hand, it feels like I'm going to have a pretty good bit of weight out front. So weight wise, I'm factoring in weight for carrying weight, because as hunters, especially if you're a backcountry hunter, all your weight counts. Some guys prefer a really heavy bow. I prefer a lighter bow. But this bow, once you deck it out, is probably going to be one of your heavier bows, in my opinion. So for weight, I gave it a 4. Speed, I gave it an 8. Like I said, top 3 in speed for all the bows that I shot so far. Noise. So this bow is definitely one of the loudest bows that I've shot so far this year. Now, hopefully you can hear this on the camera, but listen to this. I don't know if you're going to be able to hear it or not. This mod, part of the adjustment in this mod has a little gear wheel in there, and it drives on like a track in that mod. For whatever reason, these mods, like 4 or 5 times now shooting these bows, these mods have came loose. The whole mod came loose on me one time, and these little small end pieces here with the little gear wheel where you adjust your let off, that has also came loose on me a couple times. And it'll sit there and vibrate. No matter how tight that you get that screw, that little gear wheel in there just sits there and vibrates, and that irritates the crap out of me. Noise is one of the things that I just can't handle in a hunting bow. Vibration, I would give this bow kind of middle of the road. It does have some vibration in the hand, but really most of your vibration, I think, is coming from like these adjustments and stuff in these mods. And then fit and finish. Looks wise, this bow does look very nice. I'm not knocking the paint or the film dip or whatever it is on this bow. The limbs look nice. What I'm knocking on this bow is the cams. And if you actually hold these cams and compare them to all the other bow brands that they carry up here in the shop, this cam has some kind of a really thick coating on it. And the bad thing about it, and why it keeps coming loose, is these mods here, the holes in them are they're filled pretty thick with whatever that coating is on that cam. And those screws just right here, those screws right through here, they seem to keep coming loose unless you just really crank down on them. The other downside to these mods are the fact that several draw positions, you have to actually pull your cables back and rotate the cam slightly to even get the screw in there. The old Bowtechs in the past had this system, and there were a lot of screws that got stripped out from people trying to shoot different draw lengths and stuff like that, and they'd get their screw in there crooked. So I really don't like the way that this mod system is set up on this bow. But that's why I gave it a 3 on fit and finish. I really don't care for the way these cams have such a thick coating on them. But like I said, guys, this bow does not shoot bad. It got a 62 out of a possible 110 points once you factor in price. This bow is going to retail for $1,200. So it's definitely not cheap, but it's not one of your more expensive bows either. So, like I said, guys, if you're just in the market for a hunting bow, you like Elite, I do think this bow shoots better than the Elites of the past, so I'm not taking that away from it. But just personally, this was not one of my favorite bows for this year. Definitely come in here and check this bow out for yourself. If you have a different draw length than me, keep in mind that these cams, I noticed between shooting all these bows at different draw lengths to get the speed test, I noticed that on some bows they got a better draw the longer it got, and in other bows vice versa, it got a better draw the shorter it got. This cam was kind of the same throughout the draw cycle, throughout the draw length on each cycle. It didn't really stack any different. It didn't really get any easier. The back wall stayed really good. That's probably my favorite thing about this bow is the back wall. So hopefully you got something out of this video, guys. If you have any questions, don't hesitate to comment down below. Please give us some comments. That really helps our channel out. It really helps me know kind of what you're looking for and what you want to see in the channel. If you have any advice on our scoring system that you want to see some different scoring criteria or whatever, just comment down below and let me know. I'm always up for suggestions. So if you like the scoring criteria and you think that's a good scoring criteria for a hunting bow, like I said, this channel is all about hunting. I don't care about targets and anything like that. It's all hunting. So if you have any advice or anything that you want to see different, let me know. If you like the system, let me know. If you have any archery related questions that I can't answer, give these guys a call up here at Grafton Archery at 704-855-1300. They'll help you with anything archery related, anything you need. So they're awesome guys, and they'll help you out. But anyways, guys, I'm gonna leave you with this. Remember to live your life to the fullest and use your passions to bless others. We'll catch you on the next video.